The following is a transcript of the words of Lord Vivek, addressed to a dissident priest, Malur Omang, who confronted Vivek with the Ashlander tradition surrounding the Battle of Red Mountain and with prophecies of the Never-Ravine, and to unnamed magistrates of the Inquisition who joined Vivek in interrogating the dissident priest. You got that? Good. Who can clearly recall the events of the distant past? But you have asked me to tell you in my own words the events surrounding the Battle of Red Mountain, the birth of the tribunal, and the prophecies of a Nerevar reborn. Here is what I can tell you. When the Chimer first abandoned the herds and tents of their nomadic ancestors and built the first gray houses, we loved the Daedra and worshipped them as gods. But our brethren the Dwemer scorned the Daedra and mocked our foolish rituals, and preferred instead their gods of reason and logic. So the Chimer and the Dwemer were always at bitter war, until the Nords came and invaded Resdain. Only then did the Chimer and Dwemer put away their strife and join together to cast out the white-faced invaders with the blonde hair. Human-shaped, if you will. No pointy ears to be found, and their eyeballs were very small by comparison. Once the Nords were driven out, General Nerevar of the Chimer and General Dumak of the Dwemer, who had come to love and respect one another, resolved to make peace between their peoples. In that time, I was but a junior counselor to Nerevar, and Nerevar's queen, Almalexia, and his other favorite counselor, suck a dick about it, counselor, Sothasil, always doubted that such a peace might long survive, given the bitter disputes between Chimer and Dwemer. But by negotiation and compromise, Nerevar and Dumak somehow managed to preserve a fragile peace. But when Dagoth Lord of House Dagoth, and trusted as a friend by both Nerevar and the Dwemer, brought us proof that High Engineer Kagranak of the Dwemer had discovered the heart of Lorcan, and that he... Oh, you fucking shit in my mouth. Fucking damn it. I hate these fucking controllers. Ahem. Brought us proof that High Engineer Kagranak of the Dwemer had discovered the heart of Lorcan, and that he had learned how to tap its powers and was building a new god, a mockery of Chimer faith and a fearsome weapon. We all urged Nerevar to make war on the dwarves and to destroy this threat to Chimer beliefs and security. And if you didn't know, dwarves is the Dwemer, Dwemer are the dwarves, interchangeable. We don't know, nobody knows why. Nerevar was troubled. He went to Dumak and asked if what Dagoth said was true. But Kagranak took great offense and asked whom Nerevar thought he was. Thought he might presume to judge the affairs of the Dwemer. Nerevar was further troubled and made pilgrimage to Holomalangahumina, the sacred temple of Azura. And Azura confirmed that all that Dagoth said was indeed true, and that the creation of a new god of the Dwemer should be prevented at all costs. When Nerevar came back and told us what the goddess had said, we felt our judgments confirmed, and again counseled him to war, chiding Nerevar for his naive trust and friendship, and reminding Nerevar of his duty to protect the faith and security of the Chimer against the impiety and dangerous ambitions of the Dwemer. They live in tunnels underground. Then Nerevar went back to Vardenfell one last time, hoping that negotiations and compromise might once again preserve the peace. But this time, the friends of Nerevar and Dumak quarreled bitterly, and as a result, the Chimer and Dwemer went to war. The Dwemer went well defended by their fortress at Red Mountain, but Nerevar's cunning drew most of Dumak's armies out into the field and pinned them there. While Nerevar, Dagoth and a small group of companions could make their way into the Heart Chamber by secret means, there Nerevar, the Chimer King, met Dumak the Dwarf King, and they both collapsed from grievous wounds and draining magics. With Dumak fallen and threatened by Dagothr and others, Kagranek turned to his tools upon the heart. And Nerevar said he saw Kagranek and all his Dwemer companions at once disappear from the world. In that instant, Dwemer everywhere disappeared without a fucking trace. Do you understand what that means? Doesn't matter where they were, at any fucking place, at that exact moment in time, if you were of the Dwemer race for some reason, very Hitler-esque ideals flowing about freely. If you were of that lineage, guess what, bud? You were deleted from this world, and the only thing that you left to prove that you existed was anything you created with your own two hands and a little pile of dust where your asshole was. That's it. That's all you got, bud. That's it. But Kagranak's tools remained, and Dagothr seized them, and he carried them to Nerevar, saying, "That fool Kagranek has destroyed his own people with these things. We should destroy them right away, lest they fall into the wrong hands." But Nerevar was resolved to confer with his queen and his generals, who had foreseen that this war would come, and whose counsel he would not ignore again. "I will ask the tribunal what we shall do with them, for they have had wisdom in the past that I had not. Stay here, loyal Dagothr, until I return." So Nerevar told Dagothr to protect the tools in the heart chamber until he returned. Then Nerevar was carried to us where we waited on the slopes of Red Mountain, and he told us all that had transpired under Red Mountain. What Nerevar had said was that the Dwemer had used special tools to turn their people into immortals, and that the heart of Lorkhan held wondrous powers. Only later did we hear from others present that Dagothr had thought the Dwemer destroyed, not made immortal. Fucking poop, gone, deleted, zappity boof, they don't exist no more. And no one knows for sure what really happened there. After hearing Nerevar, we gave our counsel as he requested, proposing we should preserve these tools in trust for the welfare of the Chimer people. And who knows, perhaps the Dwemer are not gone forever, but merely transported to some distant realm from which they may someday return to threaten our security once again. Therefore, we need to keep these tools to study them and their principles so that we may be safe in the future generations. And though Nerevar voiced his grave misgivings, he was willing to be ruled by our council, under one condition, that we all together should swear a solemn oath upon Azura that the tools would never be used in the profane manner that the Dwemer had intended. We all readily agreed and swore solemn oaths at Nerevar's dictation. So then we went with Nerevar back into Red Mountain and met with Dagothr. Dagothr refused to deliver the tools to us, saying they were dangerous and we could not touch them. Dagothr seemed to be irrational, insisting that only he could be trusted with the tools, and then we guessed that he had somehow been affected by his handling of the tools, but now I feel sure that he had privately learned the powers of the tools and had in some confused way decided he must have them for himself. Then Nerevar and our guard resorted to force to secure the tools. Somehow, Dagothr and his retainers escaped, but we gained the tools and delivered them to Sothasil for study and safekeeping. For some years we kept the oaths we swore to Azura with Nerevar, but during that time, in secret, Sothasil must have studied the tools and divined their mysteries. And at last he came to us with a vision of a new world of peace, with justice and honor for nobles, and health and prosperity for the commoners. With the tribunal as immortal patrons and guides, and dedicating themselves to this vision of a better world, we made a pilgrimage to Red Mountain and transformed ourselves with the power of Kagranek's tools, you dumb sons of bitches. You know no bounds of your arrogance, and guess what? You fucked it all up. Big fucking surprise. But I digress. And no sooner than we had completed our rituals and begun to discover our newfound powers, the Daedra Lord Azura appeared and cursed us for our forsworn oaths. By her powers of prophecy, she assured us that her champion, Nerevar, true to his oath, would return to punish us for our perfidy, and to make sure such profane knowledge might never again be used to mock and defy the will of the gods, much like the Terminator from the Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But so the Seal said to her, "The old gods are cruel and arbitrary, and distant from the hopes and fears of Mer. Your age is past. We are the new gods, born of the flesh and wise and caring of the needs of our people. Spare us your threats and chiding, inconstant spirit. We are bold and fresh, and we will not fear you." And then in that moment, all Chimer was changed into Dunmer, and our skins turned to ashen and our eyes into fire. Of course, we only knew at the time that this had happened to us, but Azura said, "This is not my act, but your act. You have chosen your fate and the fate of your people, and all the Dunmer shall share your fate. And from now on to the end of time, you think yourselves gods, but you are blind, and all is darkness." And Azura left us alone in darkness, and we were all afraid. But we put on brave faces and went forth from Red Mountain to build a new world from our dreams, of our dreams. Dreams is the only thing you need to know. That's the important fucking word. And the new world we shaped was glorious and generous, and the worship of the Dunmer fervent and grateful. That didn't sound fucking right. What the fuck was that intonation? Anyway, the Dunmer were at first afraid of their new faces, but Sothosil spoke to them, saying that it was not a curse but a blessing, a sign of their changed natures, and a sign of the special favor they might enjoy as Numer. No longer barbarians trembling before ghosts and spirits, but civilized Mer, speaking directly to their immortal friends and patrons. The three faces of the tribunal. And we were all inspired by Sothosil's speech and vision and took heart. And over time, we crafted the customs and institutions of a just and honorable society. In the land of Resdain Numa, a millennia of peace, equity, and prosperity unknown to other savage races that are below them. You can clearly see that they are very racist and consider people that aren't them below them. That's very fucking concerning. But beneath Red Mountain, Dagothr had survived. And even as the light of our bold new world shined ever more brightly, beneath Red Mountain the darkness gathered. A darkness that was close kin to the bright light that Sothosil coaxed from the heart of Lorkhan with the tools of Kagranek. As the darkness grew, we fought it and crafted walls to confine it, but we never could destroy it. For the source of the darkness was the same source as the source of our own divine inspiration. The same thing that made us badass demigods that fucking did all the crazy shit that you saw in Morrowind, which is arguably the best world in the fucking series. All that shit, that was them. That was their whole fucking thing. Then we got fucking Skyrim. I mean, it's great. Great and all, but you don't see any fucking riding giant insect beasts, do you? You really gonna try and argue that dragons are cooler than giant ticks or giant fleas that you can ride from town to town? Get fucked. You know better. Shut up. Where was I at? And as the darkness grew, we fought it and crafted walls to confine it, but we never could destroy it. For the source of the darkness was the same source as the source of the thing I already read 1,000,000 times. And in these latter days of Latter-day Saints of Morrowind, reduced to a subjugated province of the Western Empire, as the glory of the temple fades and the dark tide rises from Red Mountain, we are reminded of Azura and her promised champion's return. We have waited, blind and in darkness, mere shadows, drained of our ardent vision, in shame of our folly, in fear of our judgment, and in hope of our deliverance. We do not know if the outlander claiming to fulfill the prophecies of the Nera Ravine is our old companion Nerevar Reborn, or just a part of the Emperor, or a cat's paw of Azura, or some simple twist of fate. But we insist you adhere to temple doctrine and conform to the strictures dividing the hieroglypha from apocrypha, and that you not speak that which must not be spoken openly. Act as a dutiful priest should, and in accordance with your vows of obedience to the canons and archcanons, and all will be forgiven. Defy me, and you will know what it is to stand against the God, and I will turn your inside asshole outside and make it your mouth, and make your mouth your asshole, and no one's gonna know where shit's coming from, and it's gonna be bad. The end. Hallelujah. Suck my dick.